What if binigyan ka ng lupa ng magulang mo? Pwede pa ba nila itong bawiin? Touch move na ba to?
Madalas sa Pilipinas na binibigay ng mga magulang yung ari-arian nila sa kanilang mga anak kahit buhay pa sila, Tony Ramon. O kaya ipinapangalan na ito sa mga anak. Pero paano kung gustong bawiin ng magulang yung lupa?
Yan, ganyan na ganyan ang tanong ng reader natin today na ang pangalan niya, Crystal B.
Wow.
Hi, Crystal. Okay, so sabi niya, "Hi, attorney, I have this sister that wanted to divide our parents' properties even though they are still alive." It was way back in 2011. It was a 1 hectare property. And it was transferred to her name because she asked our parents that she will use it only for applying for a job in Canada. Okay? So,
Parang show money.
parang show money.
Show land.
lupa. Oh, show lupa. Okay. My mother is still the one paying for the tax of that land. So, I guess she means yung Amelia. Okay? Now, my brother and his wife are occupying itong property na to. We already agreed before that we will give the land to our brother. So, I guess nag-usap-usap. However, my brother and sister have a big misunderstanding. She now wants to divide my parents' property. My question here, attorney, is that can our parents legally take back the land?
Yan.
Thank you. This is from Crystal B. So, today, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon is itong tanong ni Crystal. Paano kung na-transfer ng property sa anak, pwede pa ba itong bawiin ng mga magulang?
Touch move.
Touch move na ba yan? And this is also an opportunity for us na pag-usapan yung tinatawag nating mga simulated contracts.
Wow.
Ayan. Okay? So, pero bago niyan,
Let's do a shoutout sa nagbigay sa atin ng comment, Attorney Ramon.
sabi niya?
Sabi niya, I was so excited to order the handbook of the employee discipline system. Through this book, I will be guided on how to discipline my employees fairly and not to violate their rights. This is a great help in my journey in leading a team. And that comes from Mary C.
Mary C, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comment.
Thank you so much for your comment. And kayo po, kung gusto naman ninyo mag-submit ng question para sa show, baka next time yung tanong naman ninyo yung masagot, you can go to www.legalguide.ph and click the submit topic button. Now, let's get on with the show.
If you're having issues transferring your land or have issues transferring the properties of a loved one who passed away, we have something that can help. We recorded an FAQ session where we answered the most common questions related to estate settlement and transferring land. You can access the recording by going to www.legalaccess.ph and choosing the estate settlement topic there.
Welcome to Legal Guide Philippines, where we simplify the law to help you make better choices. I'm Attorney Erwin Zagala and I'm with my partner,
Attorney Ramon Ramirez. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We're talking about yung pag-revoke ng donasyon.
Bawian.
Bawian. We don't even know from yung question ni Crystal kung talaga mga donation ba ang ginawa or whatever. So, but again, before we go into that, let's do a little context setting. Okay, balik tayo sa question ni Crystal. So, what's happening here? Si Crystal, meron siyang mga magulang. And meron siyang sister, so kapatid na babae, at meron siyang brother. Ayan. So, ang nangyari yata, way back in 2011, si sister yata,
Apply.
nag-apply sa Canada. Siguro, kailangan niya kumuha ng visa or whatever, and
Para makakuha ka ng visa, kailangan ipakita mo.
i-interviewin siya di ba? So, siguro, kailangan niya pakita na, meron akong lupain here in the Philippines. Meron akong babalikan. Ayan. So, and this is a very typical thing na ginagawa ng mga Pinoy, no, lalo na kung nag-a-apply sila ng visas abroad, no. I remember nung it was my first time na mag-apply ng US visa, yun yung mga ina-advise sa akin, kailangan meron kang
Show money.
Meron
pang show land.
So si sister here mukhang show land. Yan, no. So ano nangyari, for whatever reason, na-i-transfer partially or wholly yung property kay sister.
Actually, hindi malinaw.
Hindi malinaw so kung partially ba or the whole property. But may na-i-transfer kay sister. Yun ang assumption natin, no, from the facts. Okay. So na-transfer na. Siguro nakuha niya ng job niya. I don't know kung ano nangyari sa kanya way back 2011 ba. Okay, but ang nakatira actually dun sa property nung parents ni Crystal is yung brother naman niya. Okay? At yung kanyang asawa, siguro may family na rin sila doon. No? So, and mukhang nagkaroon ng usap-usapan amongst the family members na, okay, kay itong property na to, kay ano yan, kay brother na lang yan. Okay, yun ang usapan. Siguro, nag-agree yung parents, nag-agree si sister, si Crystal, and yung brother. Kay brother yung property niya.
And I think lahat sila. Unanimous naman eh. Lahat nag-agree na ano. Okay.
So yun ang facts so far.
And hindi malayo sa mga pamilyang Pilipino, ganyan yan eh.
Yeah,
ito kay kuya, ito kay ate, ito kay bunso.
Okay, sure. So kaya lang nagkaroon ngayon ng ano. So nakapangalan pa rin kay sister, di ba? So kaya lang nagkaroon ng away or ng falling out si brother at si sister.
Hindi rin nabigay yung detalye dyan.
Hindi rin natin. So we'll just assume falling out, no? So ibig sabihin na magkaroon ng hindi pagkakaintindihan na matindi, no? Kaya talagang siguro hindi sila nag-uusap or very hostile na sila sa isa't isa. We don't know, no? So yun, nagkaroon ng falling out. And ngayon, mukhang hindi na pumapayag si sister dun sa unang napag-usapan na kay brother yung property. So ngayon, ang tanong ni Crystal, pwede pa bang bawiin ng magulang ko yung na-transfer kay sister?
Parang naging referee yung magulang. Eh,
Oo.
Nag-away kayo, akin na muna.
Yan, parang gano'n. Oo. Kasi parang siguro in the mind of Crystal, para maibigay na yung property dun sa brother. Tama, di ba?
Posible. Hindi natin alam.
Hindi rin natin alam. So, but just based on yung pagkakabasa natin dun sa question ni Crystal. Okay, so, very interesting, no? Attorney Irwin.
It is.
So, before we get into anything, no, we want to talk to you guys about itong natin, itong mga certificates or titles natin, no, na ginagamit here sa Philippines.
Titulo.
Ayan, okay? So, in the Philippines, what we use is what we call yung torrents system of land registration. Okay? So, this was adopted in the Philippines at the time because it was believed to be the most effective measure to ensure na yung integrity ng land titles natin. Okay? So, kasi very important, lalo na hindi pa naman uso yung hindi naman uso yung mga blockchain or internet or technology. It's really all paper, no? And this was the very effective way of protecting yung
At the time, state of the art.
Yeah, oo. Okay, and also, diba, if you want to protect the integrity of the land titles because you want to protect yung yung hindi pwedeng ma-question yung claim of ownership ng isang tao dun sa property na yun. Okay? Why? Kasi if a person, ako bibili ako ng lupa, di ba? And bibili ko yung lupa sa iyo. And then you're going to say, hindi, valid yung titulong yan, nakapangalan sa akin yan. Okay, kailangan
maniguro.
And kailangan maasahan ko yung sinasabi mo. 'Di ba?
You need to be able to trust.
Yes. Yeah. So hindi pwedeng all the time na lang may risk ako na hindi pala totoo na sa'yo yan. 'Di ba? After nabenta mo na sa akin yung property, may magsabi, hindi kay Irwin yan eh. Di ba?
Akin yan.
Akin yan. Di ba? Paano
bayad ka na.
Bayad na ako. Nag-abroad ka na. Di ba? So, we need, kailangan mo protect yung buyers of land. Di ba? In this system na dapat sure na yung pinagbibilan nila is yung may-ari. Okay? So that's why we're doing that's why we're using this torrents system. Okay? Ano ba yung mga effects na if hindi natin maaasahan yung system natin of titling land, no? Of course, public confidence the public's confidence in the system would be eroded. And, di ba? So,
kasi wala na matutuloy na transaction.
Yes.
Malay ko ba kung tama yan?
And every time na lang pag may bibili na lupa, baka mag-engage tayo ng mga detective, 'di ba? Ng mga abogado or gagawa tayong due diligence na tinatawag para lang ma-ensure na talagang ikaw yung may-ari ng property. Magastos, So we want to do away with that. That's why we have the torrent system.
Makes sense.
Okay? Obviously, pag hindi natin maasahan yung aking torrent system, dadami yung conflicts, di ba? Yung mga land disputes natin.
Tsaka ang dali man loko.
Exactly.
Ang dali man loko.
Oo. So, ayun, no? So, under our torrent system, we have what we call the certificate of title, no? So, you can have an original certificate of title. Ibig sabihin, since the beginning, ito yung unang-unang titulo na ano sa kanya, na-issue sa lupang yan. Kaya pag na-transfer na yan, akin yung original certificate of title, pag na-ibenta ko sa'yo, ikaw na yung bagong owner under the title, ano na tawag doon? Transfer Certificate of Title.
Okay,
diba? TCT. Diba? Okay? So, OCT yung sa original, TCT. Pag lipat-lipatan na, it's always TCT. Now, meron din tayong tinatawag na CCT. Okay? Ito yung mga nauso, yung nagkaroon ng mga maraming condominium. Yan, meron na tayong condominium certificate of title as well. So, these are just, just para sa kalaman nyo. Okay? Now, as yung certificate of title natin, this serves as the evidence of indefeasible and incontrovertible title to the property.
Ang bibigat ng salita. Attorney Ramon, ano ibig sabihin nun?
Basically, ibig sabihin na walang kaduda-duda dapat na yung nakapangalan dyan is siya yung may-ari ng property. Okay? So, kung ang pangalan ko nakalagay dyan, dapat indefeasible yan. Incontrovertible yan. Okay? So, according to our laws, the certificate of title is generally the best proof of ownership.
Sige nga, patunayan mo, ikaw talaga may-ari ng lupang yan.
Wala na akong kailangan gawin. Basta pinakita ko yung titulo ko, nandiyan yung pangalan ko, that's the best proof.
Hindi mo kailangan sabihin, ay ako yung nakatira dyan last 20, 30 years.
You don't need to do that.
Or ako yung nagbabayad ng amilyar niya. Hindi na, titulo na
just
lang.
titulo. No. Is it the only proof? No. But it is the best proof. Okay?
And that's upheld by jurisprudence.
Yes.
Saka, mga kaso po na na-decide ng
Supreme Court. Hindi lang the lower courts, but the Supreme Court. Okay? So, a torrent certificate, now, as compared to a, a certificate of title under the torrent system, compared to a, let's say, a contract of sale or any other private document, ano mas mabigat, Attorney?
Titulo o kontrata?
Ako, meron din ako. May kontrata ko. Binenta sa akin to eh. Ano mas mabigat, Attorney?
Titulo pa rin.
Titulo pa rin.
Kung susundan ko yung logic ng kanina, it's the best evidence.
Yes. Okay, so, guys, very important that since the certificate of title is the best proof of ownership, it means na dapat very protected yung system natin. Okay? So, let's go on to our next point. Does it mean that so natituluhan na? Does that mean na automatic na ako nang may-ari niyan? Walang kaduda-duda. And hindi niyo na pwedeng labanan yan. Okay? The answer is no. Hindi automatic yan. Okay? Registration does not mean acquiring or vesting ownership over a property. Okay?
Not by itself.
Not by itself. Hindi ibig sabihin automatic na hindi na talaga pwedeng i-challenge yan. Okay? So, our Supreme Court has cautioned us that the certificate of title is merely evidence of ownership over the over the property described in the title. Okay? And there are a lot kasi of cases, alam naman ng Supreme Court to, that there are a lot of cases where na-register yung property through fraud. And naloko yung original owner ng
Walang
property.
kaalam-alam yung may-ari, natutulog sa bahay,
nalipat na pala, iba na pala yung may-ari. No? So, it can still be challenged. So, yung sinabi natin na indefeasible yung mga certificates of title under the torrent system, this should not be used as a means to perpetuate or to use fraud against the rightful owner of the real property.
Huwag gamitin pang loko.
Yes. Huwag tayong gumawa ng masama. Alright? So, again, in the case of D versus Aldea, sabi ng Supreme Court natin, a torrent's title does not furnish a shield for fraud. Notwithstanding the long-standing rule that the registration is a constructive notice of title binding upon the whole world, the legal principle is that if registration of the land is fraudulent, the person in whose name the land is registered holds it as a mere trustee.
Okay.
So again, if fraud was used to transfer the land, hindi protection. Hindi nasa torrents na, nasa certificate of title na. Okay? Please don't do that. All right. So, I hope naliwanagan kayo on our torrent system and yung concept na hindi matik na kumbaga hindi na pwedeng i-challenge, no, if na i-register yung through fraudulent means yung title sa pangalan ng isang tao. Okay? So next naman, we will be talking about what we call simulated contracts.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And we're back. Okay, so what are next we'll be talking about, sabi natin kanina, we'll be talking about simulated contracts. That's our third point. No? Ano ba yung mga simulated contracts?
At hindi naman yung simulated, parang kunwari lang.
Parang
Diba?
kunwari, yan. So,
Nagpapanggap. Yan.
tama, okay? Tama si Attorney Erwin. So, sa Tagalog, parang nagpapanggap or kunwari or parang, baga, di ba nung bata tayo, naglalaro tayo ng bahay-bahayan. So, kunwari, di ba? So, simulation takes place when the parties do not really want the contract that they executed to produce the legal effects expressed by its wordings. So, anong ibig sabihin to? Yes, meron silang pinirmahan na kontrata, pero hindi naman talaga nila totoong intention yun. No? Medyo ganun ang ibig sabihin. No? So,
parang may dating na ganito. Oh, ita-transfer ko yung lupa sa'yo, ha? Wink, wink.
Parang gano'n. Kungwari lang, ha? Tama ba yung Ayan, okay? So, the simulation is what you call the declaration of a fictitious will, deliberately made by agreement of the parties in order to produce an effects for purposes of deception. Okay?
Uy, gusto ka palabasin.
Yes.
Pero palabas lang yun.
Yes.
Hindi yun namang gusto mo talaga mangyari.
Now, ano yung pinaka typical na nakikita natin in our practice na simulated contract, Attorney Erwin?
Kunwari, gustong maglipat ng magulang sa anak. Papalabasin kunwari na sale.
Yan, simulated sale na parati yan. Nakikita namin day in, day out yan. Since bata pa akong abogado. Bata pa rin naman ako. We always see that. No? What's what you call, in this case, a simulated sale, wherein si magulang, kung wari, ibebenta yung property sa anak for X amount of pesos, pero pag tinignan mo yung bank accounts, wala namang palitan ng pera. Di ba?
Ako, Tony Ramon, parang nakikita ko na kung saan papunta to. Pag in-apply natin sa kaso mamaya. Sa tanong, papasok kaya sa simulated sale.
Yeah.
Tingnan natin.
So clear, no? Simulated sale, hindi totoong sale, no? Kasi wala namang some of the elements might be missing in a contract of sale. Okay? So, but don't get me wrong, guys, marami din namang nangyayari na marami kami nahawakan na kaso din na actual sale between parents and mga
Hindi siya
children.
posible.
Yeah, oo. Hindi siya all cases, no. Meron din naman talaga mga anak na hindi, bibiling ko yan from my parents, no. Yan. Okay, so I think we should go back to the civil code. Ano ba ang sabi ng civil code tungkol sa simulation ng contracts?
Attorney Basa, pasok.
Okay, ito. This is in Article 1345. Simulation of a contract may be absolute or relative.
Uy.
The former, ibig sabihin na yung absolute simulation, takes place when the parties do not intend to be bound at all. The latter, o yung relative simulation, when the parties conceal their true agreement.
Yun.
So, okay, klaro. So sabi ni Article 1346, an absolutely simulated sale or fictitious contract is void.
Ay, void.
Void. A relative simulation when it does not prejudice a third person and is not intended for any purpose contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy, binds the parties to their real agreement. Yan, okay? So yan ang dalawang provisions on simulated simulated contracts. Okay? So to be clear, no, an absolute in an absolute simulation, yes, merong contract but it has no substance because the parties have no intention to be actually bound by it.
Parang pumirma ka pa wala ka namang intention.
Yes. Talagang yung pag sinabi mong absolute, talagang kungwaring-kungwari lang talaga. Wala kayong intention na maging yan ang kasulatan ninyo.
It's a mere scrap of paper.
Mere scrap of paper. Yeah. That's why it is void.
Yes.
Okay? So, the main characteristic of an absolute simulation is that the contract, yung kungwaring contract, it's not really desired or intended to produce a legal effect in any way. No? So, Ayun. So, as a result, an absolutely simulated contract is void. And the parties may actually, pag void siya, the parties may recover from each other what they may have given already under the contract. Okay? So, that is an absolute simulation. Now, why would you say na it's void? No? See, generally, in a contract, one of the main elements that you would want to have in a contract is what we call consent. No? So in an absolute simulation, there appears to be a valid contract, but there's actually none because kulang yung consent.
Mhm.
Di ba? Kasi you really didn't intend to be bound by that contract. So there's no consent, then it's a void contract. Ayan. Okay? Now, if the parties state a false cause in the contract to conceal the real agreement, so ito naman, hindi siya totally or absolutely simulated. It's just relatively.
Medyo lang.
Medyo simulated. Okay? False cause. Huh? And the parties are still bound by their real agreement. Okay? So, where the essential requisites of a contract are present dun sa simulation, and the simulation refers only to the content or terms of the contract, the agreement is still binding and enforceable between the parties and their successors.
Yes.
Yan. Okay? So those are the difference between an absolute and a relatively simulated contract, no? So, ayun. So, let's go now to yung question.
Ito na.
Balik
Balik tayo kay Crystal.
Balik na tayo kay Crystal. No?
Dear Crystal. Ito na.
So, ayan, Crystal, no? Mababawi ba? Balik tayo sa question. Mababawi ba ng parents ni Crystal, knowing what we know already about torrent system and yung absolute yung simulated contracts, probably simulated sale. Pwede ba? So before we analyze that, if Crystal were with me right now, di ba? I'd probably ask her first, ano ba muna yung mode of transfer?
Was it sale? Was it donation?
Or what not? No? Ano ba usually yun lang naman ang magagamit siguro ng parents, no? But ano yung mode of transfer? Bakit na ititulo sa pangalan ni sister yung property, no? Why is that important? Because depending on the mode of transfer, there would be a document, no? If it's a sale, then there would be a deed of sale. If there is a donation, there would be a deed of donation. And ako, as a lawyer, the first thing I would look at is, tingnan ko muna yung contract. Ano ba yung nakalagay dun sa contract? Baka naman may mga provisions there that would allow me to, allow the parents to get the property back. Diba? So baka may provision there. Pag nag-away si sister at si brother, pwedeng bawiin ng magulang yung property. Kung may ganong provision, doon na, yun ang gamitin natin.
Ganda kontrata. No?
Diba?
If the siblings are mad at each other,
the parents can revoke the donation. Yan. Again, we're making fun of it. Pero if there are provisions that we can use or the parents can use, then we would first want to look at yung nandun sa contract, and then we can enforce that. Okay, so that's
since we don't have access to the contract.
Yeah, we don't have it in front of us. We don't know what's there, so we're just we're for discussion purposes. All right. Now, failing that, I would also look at baka naman may grounds for invalidating the contract. Kasi kung ang goal is bawiin ng magulang, titirahin ko yung contract of transfer, no? So, ano ba yung mga grounds? Paano ko siya pwede ko ba siyang mapadeclare as a void?
Mm-hmm.
Pwede ko ba siyang ma-rescind, no? And these are may mga requirements yan under the civil code, no? How to paano maging void ang isang contract, paano siya ma-rescind, no, or rescission. So, I would look at that.
Again, we don't have enough information at this point, so kailangan talaga kumonsulta ni Chris.
Yes. Oh, very good. Ayun. So, if we're going to contract yung validity we're going to attack the validity of the contract, dito nagpapasok, Attorney Erwin, yung discussion natin on simulated contract.
Mm-hmm.
Posible na absolutely simulated yung contract, in which case,
it's a mere scrap of
yes,
paper.
In which case, it can be declared as void. Pwede, no? Pwede. Again, sabi nga ni Attorney Erwin, Crystal, please use this discussion as a jump-off point. Consult somebody that you trust, somebody who's really an expert on these matters, and then please use this as a jump-off point, not as the actual advice for you. Okay? Now, I want to before we go, I want to talk about yung possibility na hindi ganun kadali na bawiin, na ibigay kay brother.
Okay.
Kasi if this is the only property ng magulang, then meron din naman tayong tinatawag na legitime. Ano ba yung legitime, Attorney Erwin?
Para sa estate settlement.
Estate yan, di ba?
Oo.
Kasi kung ito lang ang property ng magulang, pag pumanaw na yung mga magulang, dapat hati-hati sila dun sa di ba? At the very least, di ba? Hati-hati sila sa properties.
Ang ibig sabihin kasi ng legitime, kapag pumanaw na yung magulang, may naka-partition na po kasi na share dapat kada anak.
Yes. Oo.
So ano naman ang effect ng shares na yun?
So yun nga, no? So posibleng hindi matik na pwedeng ibigay kay brother lahat.
Kasi dapat may portion si
dapat meron si sister.
At pag itong mga portions na to, Atty. Ramon, hindi na pagbigyan, ano ang mangyayari?
Ayun, posibleng mabawi ni sister yung mga binigay kay kay brother or magsuklian sila through cash, no? Again, there's a concept that we call collation as well, no? So ibig sabihin binabawi lahat and then i-compute and then redistribute tayo, no?
Parang pag umabot na sa puntong ganyan, Atty. Ramon, kailangan na talaga kumonsulta ng abogado. Medyo technical na yan.
So hindi matik na Crystal, hindi matik na basta nilang ibibigay kay brother. Take into consideration yung mamanahin ni sister as well. Okay, so I hope nauliwanagan kayo and ayun, thank you. And we'll be back after this short break.
And we're back.
For most of you, this video was more than enough. And if it makes your life easier, then of course you're welcome. But there are those of you who will watch this and end up asking even more questions.
If that's you, you can access our free recorded FAQ on transferring land, where we answer the most common questions we get from clients who consult us about real estate. Watch it at www.legalaccess.ph by choosing transferring land from the options.
And one last thing, guys. Transferring land to your loved ones is not something you should take lightly. Before you do, think long and hard about the decision to do so. Don't resort to simulating contracts. Better yet, sit down with a trusted lawyer and ask them the pros and cons of your decision. Ask them how your interests can be protected. Then, document it in a contract that truly reflects your intentions. So wasn't that simple? Now go make better choices.